Hey, all right. You're listening to the Dead Man's Tome podcast, a show that's brought to you in part by deep fried brownie beaver balls. They're delicious. I'm told they are delicious. I would not eat them. I know I had bull balls before, fried bull balls, but I don't think I would ever have deep fried brownie beaver balls. There's no way. But you know, they sponsor the show, so would you eat that, Tammy?
I probably would have to pass on that, yeah.
Right. Not a fan of beaver balls. What about bull balls?
No balls.
Nope.
No balls.
No
Meatballs,
balls.
but no balls.
Okay, meatballs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is a family show now, so I shouldn't ask you any other questions. So I'll just keep it at that. Just meatballs. Okay.
When did this turn into a family show?
It's never a fucking family show. I'll tell you what, the real sponsor tonight though is Maker's Mark. This right here, which so be having some of that later on. Depending. Okay. All right. So I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. With me is Tammy G. SK is he had to take care of something. You know what? I should take a shot for him, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should definitely do
I
that.
should do that. Okay, how about this? I'll go ahead and take a shot for him. While I do so, we're going to be reviewing, The Rite.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy, can you do us a favor and explain what this movie is? Kind of introduce this movie?
So, this movie is
so
about... Hold on, I gotta turn my volume down. Oh, those look kind of tasty, actually. I'm just seeing what you put on the screen.
Yeah, this is a deep fried brownie beaver balls. I think it's some ice cream.
I might eat those.
Its presentation is key, right? Presentation is totally key.
Yeah, because it looks like cookies with like ice cream on them. Like, who can go wrong with that?
Right? It's a Pinterest recipe.
I might have to look into that one.
See?
Okay, so The Rite is it was based off a book by Matt Bagillo? I guess that's how you would say it. Based on a true story. Michael in the movie, he worked in a morgue, I guess, was that in the beginning. And basically that's kind of like his family thing. It's either you do that or you become a priest, and he wanted to get away from that, so he goes and tries to become a priest, but he's an atheist, so he's like, this kind of isn't working for me. Right. And then he gets sent to Rome to learn about exorcism.
Yes, in a very weird, interesting way. So okay. So, and I could totally understand this film. As far as like I said, the main character is like an atheist, right? And he's like skeptic. He has a lot of doubt in his faith. Yet he went through seminary school for 4 years, is ordained or about to be ordained. He's still struggling with his faith. And they're like, I tell you what you need to do. We need to send you to Rome to join or be part of the exorcism program. It's like, you lack faith. So you know what? You could do exorcisms.
Let's take it to the extreme for you to believe.
Right.
Which I think was kind of a good thing. I mean, because if it wasn't for that, he probably never would have believed at that point. So, and it took him a while, even after seeing a couple of the exorcism performed, he still wasn't a believer.
Right. Which is okay. All right, so that's what this movie's about. What do you think about the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I loved it. So, horror is my favorite, but this is like my favorite kind of horror now. And I think the way the movie was done, it was done well. Of course, they have to have their Hollywood theatricals in it and kind of, go a little bit above what's real in it. But I think it's probably told the best on what possession and exorcism looks like compared to all of the other of these types of movies out there. And the priest that it was about is Father Gary Thomas. He's actually local to me. And from all the articles and stuff that I've read of his, he even says like they told it pretty spot on, with the exception of a couple, like the other priest never was really possessed. That part wasn't true in the movie, in the real story, but everything else was pretty spot on to what happened.
Okay. Yeah, I think overall I liked it. There's some issues I had with it, some little things. SK's not here, so I'm definitely gonna have to double up on my issues here. No, but they are legit. They are legit.
So what were your issues?
All right, I'll say this first. The movie has everything. It has all the pieces of like the hero's journey. It has that stuff. You have a character whose motivation is what? He's motivated to go to seminary school. Well, hold, let's stop there. He's motivated to go to seminary school because he wants to get out of the work that he's in right now. Okay, but he lacks faith. He's just going with the flow and doing it. Like that's.
I mean, if you kind of got that his father was very hard on him, like the relationship there was not very good. And I think that he felt it was either that or that, doing what he was doing with his dad or going and becoming a priest. Like, I think he wanted to just keep his father happy.
Okay. Yeah. So his motivation is, first he goes to the seminary school. He doubts everything, right? He's an atheist. He doubts religion, he's definitely going to doubt exorcisms, but he has to overcome all that to face face his foe and face the challenge. The greatest challenge is going to be his doubt, his lack of faith,
right?
Which he has to overcome, and he has to do it, right? No one comes in and helps him, right? No one at all,
right?
So now, the other thing, the movie's very low key, like it keeps everything like down to earth, which is good and bad. Like it's good in that it creates a more just realistic presentation of what an exorcist is, and the whole process of becoming a priest who can perform an exorcist. But it's also, it doesn't have like the problem with that is it's not as entertaining. It's almost like a documentary that's a film, it's not like and of course I'm not expecting explosions or action-packed stuff. I know it's gonna be like a slow ride, but the beginning was kind of slow, but then the exorcisms are the best part. That's when the movie starts, at least for me anyway, that's when the movie gets definitely more entertaining. Like okay, we're actually doing stuff now. Once Anthony Hopkins comes in, that's when the movie goes into high gear for me.
Yeah. I mean, he's the good actor in the movie too. So, and anything that he does pretty well, anyways. But no, yeah, and his role was really good. He did that role very well in my eyes. And yeah, in the beginning, it's kind of boring. I will agree with that. But in a way, it's kind of like the paranormal, for instance. Like, all these TV shows, it seems like it's so crazy and insane and like it's constantly active and you're always getting something and there's always like a spirit jumping out at you or whatever. But in reality, like we sit in a place for 9 hours and sometimes get nothing.
Right.
So it's showing the reality of it and not so much like the Hollywood version of it, which I think that's why I kind of liked it better than most. Because it shows people kind of the real reality of it. Okay.
And I could see that. I mean, I do recognize that. Now, while Anthony Hopkins is good in this, and he is, what about the other guy? What's his name? What was his name?
Colin O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue. I mean, he's nice to look at, but to me, that's kind of where it stops. Like, I don't think he's that great of an actor, at least not in this movie.
Right?
He kind of dropped the ball there. He's kind of dry, and there's like, even when he's like doing the exorcism, it was kind of like, nah.
Right. Okay. So honestly, when I was watching this, I was like, is he acting like he doesn't care and doesn't want to be in it, or does he feel like he actually doesn't care and doesn't want to be in it, or is it just his face? Does he just have that face? Like he doesn't care, doesn't want to be in it. I just like, but I guess that works if you're trying to play an atheist who becomes a priest, which is how do you
But it was like there was no. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
emotion?
Yeah, and it's the same level of whatever he is throughout the movie. Like you would think when he sees that girl spitting up nails or whatever, or like even when she died and he was kind of like, okay, well I gotta go.
Right, right.
I'll see you later. Like there was nothing there.
Even
Nothing
Keanu
there.
Reeves has more of a reaction. Keanu Reeves would
Right?
go, "Whoa," you know, "Whoa."
There was like nothing. I mean, he's cute. He's a good-looking guy, but I don't feel he brought much to the movie, and they probably could have picked someone way better.
They could have. They could have. They had
Yeah.
someone that would work well with his like little interactions with his girl, not his girlfriend, but his girlfriend that worked at the bar, and then like the female counterpart, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, he's good to look at. He has that gaze, that stare. I know you don't watch anime, but it looks like he has that face. He has that anime look. He has a chiseled jaw. He has good features, but that's it. Like he could be. Was he a model? Is he a model? I mean,
I don't know, but he needs to like. I think he needs more acting classes because he was just very dry to me.
Yeah,
There wasn't any emotion. There, I mean, I don't know. Like I think once he started to believe, okay, this is real. Like you would have seen more excitement in him. The exorcism on the priest was kind of like, nah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That part of the movie I wasn't too fond of, but yeah.
Now Anthony Hopkins, he played his role very well. Like there was times where I thought maybe he didn't care either, but then I was like, no, he's playing his character. His character's kind of like going through the motions of, okay, you're the new guy. All right, let me tell you how I feel about this, that, and the other. And he shows him like, there's parts of where he's like, what, speaking on Latin and stuff. Like, okay,
yeah, and I think it was kind of like he's like the no bullshit. You know what I mean? Like he's been through it so many times, and here's this punk kid coming in here that doesn't believe. You know, kind of like, why am I going to waste my time?
Right. Totally got that. So yeah, his performance was good. Didn't have any problems there. I think, let's see, there's some parts. Okay, you mentioned the nail spitting scene. Let's talk about that real fast. Okay, does that stuff actually happen?
So, per interviews with Father Gary Thomas, he says that it has happened. Not that he's experienced, but other exorcists have experienced things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, we had a conversation, and you mentioned, you know, well, yeah, that can happen if someone swallows some nails right before. And that's funny because that was like a line that Colin used in the movie too. Like, how do we know she didn't swallow those pills before, or those nails before she came here? Which, yeah, I get that, but if they've experienced, I mean, and who's to say? You know, you don't know if they did that or not. But from what I've read, yes, that has been seen.
Now, if it's a product of an exorcism, or sorry, if it's a product of a possession, like, would the nails have to have been swallowed anyway, or would the nails just be in the body somehow?
Well, you would think they'd have to be swallowed, right?
Right.
But if the supernatural being is inside of you, then who knows, right? I mean, I've never worked in any cases that have had anything like that, so my knowledge in that isn't that great. But
okay,
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know either way, but
no.
That would be crazy to see for sure.
Right. It bring a question: where do these nails come from? Did like the iron in your body like form into nails? Like, how did this happen? What happened there?
So were the nails to signify like the nails on the cross?
Christ?
Like, I'm guessing that's why that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where that would even come from.
The symbolism was pretty deep. There's a lot of
right.
Catholic symbols there. That was a nice touch. That's the other thing about this film. If you are very religious and believe in exorcisms, you're gonna enjoy this. If you're
Definitely.
not
And
religious, oh, okay, go ahead.
and the fact that it's in Italy, and exorcism was never, like, you don't hear about it here, you know what I mean, as often, but it never really lost its thing in Italy, like it always was and it always will be. I mean, I think I read that they perform like 500,000 exorcisms a year
Really?
in Italy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's still a very big thing there. Um, it's not in the States, but I know that they still perform them here. It's just not like it is out there. So their belief in that is very strong there.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's why it's kind of good that they did it there as well. And I know that the Vatican does do, like, they truly do seminars and classes on exorcism. Like, anybody can go take the course. I think they hold that like once a year. I think it's like in April. So
So you could take a
all of
course
that,
to become an exorcist?
or to at least learn about the topic. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So that's the other thing about this film. Like I said, it kind of goes with the whole down to earth angle that, or I guess framing of this. They kind of show the process a little bit, not in full detail, but they show that he's going through school, and then he's going to Rome for more a specialized school, and the school looks kind of fancy. It looks a mix of like ancient structures, but also high tech. Okay, but is that stuff legit? Is there like an actual school that they go through, like learn, like, spend
yeah,
4 years? Okay.
yeah. And it's in the Vatican. That's why it looks the way it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is totally real. They do that.
Huh. That's cool. That's cool. So in that way, I do respect the movie a little bit more. It's and don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. It's like if I were to rewatch this film, I'd probably jump to the Exorcist scenes because that's the good part. That's the good part.
Yeah, it is kind of slow in the beginning for sure. But it's kind of telling the story,
Yeah.
and it does pick up, which is good because there's a lot of movies that it's just kind of dry throughout, and it's just okay. What was that? But I like the way they did it because it is more true to form than a lot of these other possession type movies,
How does
like
it
The
compare?
Exorcist.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, I was about to ask, how does it compare to other possession movies?
what? I'm not even going to go there with The Exorcist, but let's think of something else here.
Well, while
Like,
you're thinking,
okay, let's take
okay.
for instance like The Conjurings and stuff like that. Okay, good movies, but way over dramatized, obviously. And those again are based off of true stories, but they're kind of like, okay, did that really happen like that? Like this movie, at least you can kind of say, okay, that's probably how it went.
Mm-hmm.
And just like even The Exorcist, I mean, the real story was a boy, wasn't a girl, and the story was completely different than the true story of it. And at least with this movie, they pretty much stuck to what really happened,
Yeah.
minus the Father Lucas. He was never possessed. That was only like part of the movie that wasn't really true, but I see why they added it in. Another good one, Deliver Us from Evil, based off a true story. Ralph Sarchi, I know him in real life. He was the cop in the movie, but they really, really overdid that movie as far as what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, good movie still, but not even close to what really happened. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I do like that they had a reference to The Exorcist. You know, they even made a joke about it. After the first Exorcist scene, he was like, I forgot what he said, but what Father Lucas was like, what, were you expecting pea soup? Are you expecting that? It's like, okay, that's all right. It's
Yeah.
aware. It's aware that the movie exists. Okay.
Right. No, for sure. For sure.
That's cool. That's cool. Now,
I
speaking of,
think.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of the Exorcist scenes, we got to talk about the chick that was possessed, the pregnant. Was she 16 in the film? How old was she?
She was 16. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she was young. She was raped by her father, which I will say, like a lot of the darker cases that I have taken on, a lot had something to do with something like that, rape, molestation, or people trying to get into the occult stuff and not knowing what they're doing.
Okay.
So I think that is a very common thing when it comes to that. It's such a negative thing that happens, which creates this negative energy, which then allows something darker to happen. So I did like that too, because that is very common in those types of cases.
I'd imagine so. You'd have like some real darkness in your past or some event to allow like a demon to possess you or whatever. I mean, it is a demon, right?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, her performance was great. I mean,
She was good.
She played
Yeah.
she was convincing.
Yeah, I really liked her role in the movie. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the journalist too. I think she did pretty well as well.
Yeah. I think when the main character is like a bored and took some downers before he acted or something, everyone else looks even better, But yeah, the journalist was good. The journalist felt like she was natural and wanted to be there, and was like, I don't know, she felt comfortable.
She got into her role. Like he just did not like get into his role at all.
You think maybe he was too focused on trying to play someone who doesn't really get it or care?
And that could have been it, or maybe it's just a role that he's not used to playing.
Yeah.
I don't really know what his film history is. I'm not sure even who he is.
I'm not sure either. I don't know. But yeah, the possessed chick was great. And her lines were crazy. She would shift in and out. That was cool. The voice would change, and I noticed that when she clung onto someone, she would kind of use like, I guess, their weakness against them. She would like act like the girl at the bar and say some crazy like, I can't even say here on YouTube because it's not YouTube friendly. But why don't rake me? Oh yeah, it rhymes with rake. Okay. It was like, okay, damn it. Just getting in his face like that.
Yeah, and that's what demons do too. I mean, they get in your head. They use your weak points to break you down. I mean, even like you notice that in The Exorcist, the demon did that too. So that's very common as well.
That was a moment of good acting on his part. The way he reacted was like, whoa, he kind of backed off for her. I was like, okay, there you go. There's some emotion there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. The rest of it was kind of like, okay, you can only be so pretty.
Is it? Wait, last time we talked about Amityville Horror, right? Who's the better actor? Ryan Reynolds in Amityville Horror, or this guy in Rite? Colin.
Oh, that's hard. Because I love Ryan. Like, I like most of his movies, but in that movie, I was kind of like, who the fuck is this dude? But I'd probably have to give it to Ryan, because I think he showed a little bit more emotion than this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going through his film history right now, and it's really just TV stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot.
It's short, so maybe that's why. Like, maybe we can't come down too hard on him.
Yeah, I don't want to rag on the guy. Hell, he was in a movie. I'm not.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I can't even act.
Yeah, no, me either. So, well, maybe I can. I don't know.
Uh,
But yeah, it was just too dry for me
yeah.
on his part. And that would probably be my only gripe about the movie.
Now, let's see. Oh, now later on in the film, Anthony Hopkins gets possessed. Now I know you said that didn't happen in the book, but I'm glad that they put it in the movie because it does give him something to triumph over. It gives him something to face off against. Otherwise, it'd be kind of like, well, what does he do? I mean, because the chick is already kind of taken out. She just disappears, right? Or she dies. What happened to her?
She dies. Yeah, her and the baby die.
That's right.
So, but there's a little boy. But they didn't touch too much more on that. Like, he did that one thing. The girl dies. The kid goes back to the boy's house, and he had mentioned something about his father was going to die. But that was like really it. So I mean, I guess they could have done something on the boy, but that never really transpired into anything. But yeah, I think that was a critical part in the movie, just to kind of show that he did begin to have faith, and it changed his perspective.
Right. And of course, give reason for him to call his dad and find out that his dad is dead, which is like, I mean, I guess that's how you would have. Oh, man, the way he went to that scene, it's one of those moments where, like, if you took that out, would the movie be any different? I don't know.
The dad dying?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it had to happen because when they first went to the little boy's house and how he was telling his mom his dad's going to die because he was possessed too.
Okay.
I think that shows, yeah, I think it had to have happened. I mean, they could have took that whole part out, but I think that was another part of him beginning to believe.
Realizing that there is something there.
Yeah.
There's so many, the evidence just piles on, The evidence just piles on. He doesn't see it.
Okay. So we always talk about mental illness and whatnot, right? So this girl's mentally distraught because her father raped her and impregnated her.
Right.
She's not possessed. But then, okay, how is she going to know? She says the lickety split thing. She mentions things about the dad. I mean, she brings things up that obviously, I don't care how fucking crazy in the head you are, you're not going to know.
Right. That's the evidence I'm saying. Like, she knows that even the bracelet that's on her, that belonged to a completely different woman that died by suicide.
In the States.
Right?
So, it was right in his face, and he was just, I guess, trying to deny it all. I don't know. But for me, that's all it would have taken.
That's all it would have taken. That's all it would take for me. Tammy, I know I'm a skeptic, but if I were to see that, I can't deny that. Like, how did you know that? There's no rational explanation for something like that. It's like, oh, okay, that's something beyond this world.
Just like the case I was talking to you guys about that one night on the show. Like, this guy was talking about my honeymoon.
What?
Like, he would have not have ever known any of that.
Was he invited to the wedding?
No. It was a case I was working, so there was no. How would he even know I was married? You know what I mean? Like, there was just too many things.
I don't know anything about this client. Is he a friend? Does he follow on Facebook?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh, we can go into that later. But
okay,
when people know things that they have no way of knowing, that's kind of weird. Like, right. And especially not a person who's claiming to be a psychic or anything like that, and it's a case of possible possession. I'm gonna lean towards there might be something going on here, other than this person's just fucking crazy. So,
right.
I don't know. Oh, we can't swear anymore, huh?
No. You can swear. You can swear how you want. It's not family friendly anymore. Hasn't been for a long fucking time. Oh, shit. Yeah. Let's say. Okay. So, yeah, when Anthony Hopkins is possessed, that's when it shifts gears. That's when he's tested. Okay. He has to face his doubt.
And I like it because they're both tested. Because I feel like in the movie, him losing that client and losing that girl was kind of like, he kind of like, in a sense, it felt like he lost his faith too.
Right. Right.
So then him becoming, because he let his guard down, he was possessed.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way,
So
the build up to his possession, the scenes that show him acting different, they're interesting. Like he totally slapped that girl in the face. I was like, what?
I kind of like that part, unfortunately. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. I know it's bad mean, but I liked it because I think he explains to Michael the handshaking and the tremors and stuff, and he's standing up there and his hand shaking. You know, it played into a lot of the things that he was teaching him along the way, which I felt was good too.
You know, there was humorous elements too. I'll admit that one was kind of funny, because for the wrong reasons, but it was funny. There was a part, I guess, more towards the beginning of the film where he gets a cell phone call. He gets a call on his phone during the middle of an exorcism. It's like, okay, what? You remember that?
Yeah.
There's little comedic relief moments. It's like, all right.
And I think they put that into because they're trying to show like a modern day example, and it's not like, you know, back in time and whatever. Like it's So yeah, no, I get that.
Okay. Now, there was a part where Anthony Hopkins is like confronting him, right? Or hugging him, embracing him. It was like, do you feel the mountain? And I was like, what? Is that a dick joke? I'm sorry. My gutter brain went there. I was like, man, he's like really pushing into him, isn't he? It's like, do you feel my mountain? Do you feel my presence? I was like, man, gutter brain.
I think that was more of a
Freudian slip.
Yeah. I didn't get that, but I mean, he is a priest, so I don't know.
It was a devil. It was possessed.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend this film?
I was just gonna ask you the same thing.
Oh.
I would. I mean, yeah, I really enjoy the film, so I definitely would, especially the people that I know are into that kind of thing.
I would recommend it, but with like, man, the beginning, it's just gonna lay it out like, just kind of skip the beginning. Like, just watch the second half. Like, watch this. I guess because you do kind of miss things, and it goes kind of like a little fast. It's slow and fast. Like, they go through parts of his life kind of fast, but it's slow. And then he goes from one person to the next person. Just get to the part where he meets Anthony Hopkins. Start from there. Because there's a lot of dialogue where you'll get some catch up. You won't really miss a whole lot. You'll be fine.
But the beginning does kind of explain why he's where he's at too. So it is kind of important, even though it's kind of boring.
Yeah. So, do you know much about the education process? I know we talked about it a little, but is there anything more about the process of becoming a priest, an exorcist?
No, I don't really know a whole lot about that. I mean, I've looked into like the school of exorcism because it's always like when I got into the paranormal, I didn't get into the paranormal because of that aspect of it. Because at that point, I didn't even know much about demons and all of that. It was just because of my own experiences, and I wanted to be able to get out there and help people. So that was never really in my mindset until I started working more of those darker cases. And then my interest in... Okay, something just knocked in here.
Oh. It's a presence. Wyndham said, "Hey man, while you're receiving hate for your Ricada criticism, I do think people should try to at least understand your point of just." Oh, okay, that's a comment. It's not related to this topic, but yeah, I totally understand that. I kind of expected that.
Literally don't know where that came from. I'm freaking
what, the
out
knocking?
Yeah,
the sound in your room.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about ghost stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just address this comment in the chat real fast. It's yeah. Look, I don't have any beef with Ricada. I just had some comments about a take. That's it. Oh no, it's not getting to me at all. No, on the contrary, I said what I said, and it really wasn't that bad. You know. Anyway. But let me ask you, Wyndham, have you seen The Rite, and would you recommend it? And Stacy Daleman mentioned ghosts and demons. There might be ghosts and demons in your room, Becky. Why did I say Becky? Why did I say Becky?
Did you just fucking call me Becky?
Sorry, Tammy. Sorry.
Whoa.
Oh no, that's not good. That's not good.
Wow.
Whoa. Sorry, Tammy G.
Okay, moving on.
Move on from that.
Anyway, so yeah, and once I started kind of getting more intrigued by the darker side of things, I did really start to, look into demonology and exorcism and all of that. And that's where I learned, there is the school that you can go to, anybody can go to. So I was really intrigued by that. But I don't know the process, no, because, that's not my thing really, but I'm not a priest or any of that, so I don't know like the full process of it. I'm not too knowledgeable on that.
And demonology is pretty interesting.
Really is. It really is, and I'm looking to dive more into that too once I get settled out in Texas, just because of everything happening in my house and other things that I've experienced and cases that I've done. I definitely want to be more knowledgeable in that area.
See, I figured that in this film you probably related to the journalist, that you wish you were her, right? You could like get close and actually see an exorcist perform like that. Or someone like Anthony Hopkins, that'd be great, Go over there to the Vatican and see that stuff. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even like visiting the Vatican when I did a year ago was pretty cool. It was definitely an experience, but I'd like to dive more into that aspect of things there too, if I get a chance to go back. And I can kind of see why it's so big there. Like you could feel it. Like it's kind of like when I went to Prague, like just being there, you felt the heaviness,
Right.
And that was the same feeling I got in Italy. So
now, one thing we kind of hinted at here, but didn't really go into too much, and that this movie brings up, is how do you know? How do you really tell someone's mentally ill or possessed? Right? How do you know?
That's hard. That's really hard. I mean, the cases I take on, I have a huge questionnaire that I ask. You always have to make sure that there's, find out if there's alcoholism, drug addiction, any history of mental illness, and all of that stuff before you can even like really decide if you want to take a case on or not. Because you don't know if you're working with some nut job or,
right,
or if there's something truly wrong with them. And I've questioned a few of my cases, but there's two that I know for sure that it was possession.
There's two that you know for sure. Yeah. Like, how do you? Now I have to ask. How do you know for sure?
Okay, so the first one, and this was my very first start case that I ever had. The mother, she was in her, I think, her late 60s or whatever, contacted me. She found my website online.
Okay.
And she contacted me to she's like, that there's a demon in my house. I need help, blah, blah, blah. So, I was like, okay, well, we can come by and check things out, and then we'll go from there. So we go, we do the walkthrough, we do the interview process. She did tell me on the phone before we went there that her son was bipolar and that he lived with her.
Okay.
So in her house was her brother, because her brother's wife passed, and they were from the Philippines, and he moved to the States to live with his sister after he lost his wife. And then the son lived in the house, and he was like in his early 40s. So we go to the home, and it's just a fucking mess. Like, that's another common denominator in a darker case too. A lot of the time the house is just in disarray. it's a fucking pigsty. It's
Okay.
just full of negative energy, right? So the house is totally just like a mess. And we're doing the interviews and we're asking them what's happening, blah blah blah. As I'm talking to her and them, the light goes on and off by itself in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. And then so my partner at the time, she took the woman of the house and her brother upstairs, and so they can show her what was going on upstairs.
Okay.
While the son stayed downstairs with me. So I'm sitting there talking to him, and he's like, yeah, and again, he introduced himself, and he goes like, my name's Frank, but call me something else. And I don't remember the name that he wanted me to call him, but he didn't want me to address him by his name, which I thought was kind of weird. Right. But then I kept in the back of my head, okay, he's bipolar. Don't really worry too much about that. So then we're getting more into it, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I played the Ouija board. I invite them in to like learn from them. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, what do you want to learn from them? And he was just like, I just want to know things. I want more knowledge from them. And I'm like, okay. And then he proceeds to tell me, he goes, yeah, I went to Germany and Prague, and on that trip, I went to the Prague catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, he literally described my honeymoon to a T. Okay.
And he wasn't even there. He was
No, like I've never met these people in my life. And I'm like, what the fuck, because he told me he was in the military. And then he just keeps saying more and more stuff. And I'm just like, holy shit. I'm sitting there literally like rubbing my rosary, freaking the fuck out. Like, I call them downstairs. I'm like, you guys need to come back down here, because the dude legit scared me.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of weird aspects to this case. Like, the mother and the son sleep downstairs on the couches while the brother slept in her bedroom. And she even said sometimes he would crawl on the couch with her.
Wait, how would he crawl on the couch with her to sleep with her?
He's a grown-ass man.
Yeah. Why is a grown-ass man sleeping
like,
with his mom? That's weird.
What the fuck is this? This is weird. And one of her claims was that this demon was raping her. So I'm like, huh. So oddly enough, a movie pops into my head. I don't know if you've seen the movie The American Haunting, where the father was molesting the daughter, which created this haunting in the house.
I have not seen the American Haunting. I probably need.
Okay, you need to see this movie. But and it reminded me of that. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe the son's raping the mom, and in her mind she's deflecting that, and she's trying to say it's something other than that, right? So this is what I'm starting to think in my mind. But then the fact that he knew all this shit was freaking me out too. So I'm like, okay, do we take this case? Is this too much? Because this is way out of my league at this point. So we collect everything we needed, and we left. Went to go have dinner with my friend, and I'm like kind of telling her how I'm feeling about this. She goes, okay, well, how about we like meet up with her outside of the house to talk to her by herself? And then so I contacted her, and I said, before I take this case on, I'd like to meet with you, just you. Maybe we can go to Starbucks or something and talk to you about some things. So she agreed. And so, I told her, I said, first of all, I think this revolves around your son. I think it has something to do with him. I told her the things that he told me, and she goes, well, I never seen him play the Ouija board. And I said, well, that doesn't mean he hasn't. And then I confronted her about the whole military thing and him going to Prague. And she's like, he's never left the country. He's never was in the military.
Okay.
And I'm like, hold the fuck up. Like, what? No. Like, this doesn't like add up for me then. And I was like, how did he know that stuff then? Because like he basically described my honeymoon. And she goes, I have no idea. But he'd never been out of the country. And then so I said, okay. I said, have you had any medical checkups and this and that? Because, feeling like things are touching you. Maybe it's neuropathy, or, there could be medical things.
Sure. Yeah.
Causing this, and it's not a haunting.
Right.
And she goes, well, I don't have anything like that. I'm in good health, and, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, I said, now you tell me that you feel like this thing's raping you. She'll wake up, she said, and her private areas, both ends are sore and hurting and this and that. And I'm
Both
like, okay,
ends. Holy hell.
yes.
Lock that son
So I'm
up.
like, right? So I was like, well, are you willing to get a rape kit done the next time you feel this way?
Yeah.
I said, we'll go with you if you don't want to do it by yourself. Like, as an investigator, I have to try to rule out everything else before I can say your house is haunted. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of everything. And she wasn't really on board with that part of it, which I could kind of understand. I mean, we're strangers to her anyway. But
okay.
So I decided to take on the case because I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. If we need to call in help from somebody else, then we'll do that. So we take the case on, and when we investigate, like, the family has to leave. They can't stay in the house. So we have to kind of investigate with them not there, maybe a little bit with them there to see, like, the difference. But we really need the place to ourselves to get a really good idea of what's going on.
Okay.
And so, she tells the son, yeah, we have to go. So before they actually leave, he just, like, disappears. He leaves. Like, nobody can find him.
Like, he's gone.
But he's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have, like, 3, like, really aggressive pit bulls, mind you. So they're in the backyard at this point because, of course, the house full of people that they don't know. They don't want them in the house. So she's like, well, he probably just left on his bike. He'll be gone. Me and my brother are going to leave. It shouldn't be a problem.
When you say bike, you mean like bike?
Like a bicycle.
Bicycle. Okay.
Yeah.
Bicycle. So,
so
let me follow. Let me make sure. We're talking about a bipolar man who's living at his mom's house, who is possibly raping his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Heavy shit, right?
Now, were the police ever involved? Was there ever any police report?
Yeah, at some point I do call the police, but I'll tell you why in a minute. So then,
okay.
They leave, whatever. Me and a couple of my investigators on my team go upstairs. And I didn't go upstairs on the first visit because of what happened. Like, I wanted to get out of there, basically. So we go up to what his bedroom is, but it's full of shit and he can't sleep in there because it's just trashed, right? But there's all these, like, satanic drawings all over his fucking walls. Like, okay, Mom, how do you not see this shit? Like, are you fucking blind? So he's got all this going on, and then there was a tennis shoe on top of a speaker, and it flew across the room and hit my partner in the back.
Huh.
And so we're like, okay, here we go. Like, we're not even, like, into this 10 minutes, and shit's fucking flying across the room. So we're like, cool, whatever. We couldn't do, like, any, like, EMF readings or any of that because they had a lot of power lines running across above the property.
Okay.
So, like, all the equipment that we typically use, like, we can't because it would set that stuff off and we couldn't get good readings. So we're, like, basically left with, like, doing EVPs, taking pictures, and we set up the cameras or whatnot. So then we go into what would be the mother's room, but it's the brother's room at this time. So you have a guy who's, like, into devil shit, and then you have the brother who is, like, extreme religion. Like, he had this big round table with all of these, like, saints and, like, just figurines filled. And I guess he prays to this thing, like, 3 times a day. So you have 2 extremes in the house, which is kind of the perfect circle, like, the perfect storm for this type of thing. And so we're in that room, and the bedroom door at this point's open. I'm, like, on my knees, like, leaning against the bed,
Okay.
And then my other teammates are kind of along the room. And we're doing, like, an EVP session, and my bed starts to shake. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I get up, and I'm like, okay, that's a little fucking weird. We're doing some more EVPs, and all of a sudden, we hear the dogs running up the stairs. And we're like, what the fuck? They're in the backyard. So my one partner at the time, he slams the door so they don't charge on us in the room. And then you hear the son, like, screaming for us to get out of his house. And he's like, you broke into my house. You have no right to be here. Like, I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like, your mom gave us permission to be here. Mm-hmm. This isn't her house. It's my house. Like, I mean, it was fucking crazy.
Okay,
So we
son, who
call,
pays the bills? Okay, son.
right? So then we call her and we have her come back and she straightens it all out, whatever. We finish up, we leave. And then, mind you, this woman would call me fucking daily. Text me, call me,
Right.
whatever. This is happening, blah, 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 blah. So I think we came back one more time, didn't get too much. And then I wasn't hearing from her. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird because she's always like contacting me. So I call and it's like, it's going straight to voicemail, voicemail's full. And this was going on for like almost a week. And we had went out of town and I had to drop off a friend who lived near this woman. So I was like, why don't we just like stop by and do like a wellness check? You know, make sure everything is okay.
Right.
So we
Okay.
go to the house and the front door is open, but the screen's shut. And I look in and the couches are flipped upside down. It looked like someone came in and just ransacked the house.
Meth? Were they on meth?
I don't know, right? And I'm just like, what in the fuck is going on? So he comes to the screen and his like he's looking at me and he's screaming at me and I literally like watch his eyes change and they fucking turn pitch black. Like big huge black eyes and I'm like, "Oh hell fucking no." He killed his fucking mom. Like this is what we're thinking because the house is ransacked. Nobody else is there but him. Her phone for like a week now has been voicemail full. Like something fucking happened. And so I'm like, what do we do? You know, and he's like screaming at us that we have no business to be there. We need to go. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do, you know? And so I go to talk to my mom and she's just like, well, maybe you should call the cops. So I'm like, yeah, we should probably go do that because this isn't adding up and this is really fucking weird. So we call the cops and I give them the address and I meet with the cop on the sidewalk, like, cause it's kind of like a duplex type thing. So you have to like go into a driveway to get into the house. So we're on the street and I'm like, what if we're going to tell this fucking cop without him thinking we're crazy, you know? But I mean, I broke it down for him and he actually took it pretty well. And he's like, all right, let me go in there and see.
Okay.
Well, turns out they were fine. She was at work. He had her cell phone for some reason. And that's why she wasn't getting her calls or whatever.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay. And at this point, I'm like, do we even continue with this? Because it's getting kind of crazy and I don't feel safe.
Doesn't sound safe.
No, not at all, right?
Bipolar? So, wow. Okay.
Well,
I was
now
thinking more like a schizophrenic or something, but okay.
Okay, yeah, let me get to that. So they lived in that house. Well, she's lived in that house for 20 years. Okay. The activity started a year before she contacted me. So she'd been dealing with this for a year. And so she calls me, you know, she's like so scared. And she's like, can you just come back one more time? And I'm like, okay, one more time. That's it. And, you know, if anything, you know, I can pass it off to somebody else. But, you know, I'm giving her all this advice, like clean up the house, do this, do that, maybe have a priest come in. Like I'm trying to do everything that I can to help her, but she doesn't really want to listen to anything that I'm saying.
Okay.
So we get there, the son's not there. It's just her and her brother. And she proceeds to tell me that when this started is when he had this like psychotic break or something. And he ended up in John George, which is this like mental hospital in San Leandro, California. And was diagnosed schizophrenic. So she didn't bother to tell me that in the beginning. You know, oh, he's just bipolar. Okay, that's fine. And even with the schizophrenia, like just tell me, because these things like mental illness also open somebody up to this. So, and then you have somebody who's schizophrenic who's fucking with the occult. It's like the perfect storm. And, you know, and symptoms of schizophrenia and possession are like right on par. I mean, it's very, very, very similar.
Right? Because what you were describing, like I used to work with patients at a psych facility, and the ones that are like schizophrenic, their rooms would be total disarray all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like hell trying to get them to clean it up. You find little ways to get the client to respond to you, whatever, but it's, wow. Oh man. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So now I go back. She leaves. It's just me and my other female investigator at the time. We go back up to his bedroom. I'm
All
like,
right.
well, let's just see what we get in here. Well, I walk into the room and he has like almost like this shrine, right? It's like pack of socks, like the new packs of socks. I think there's like one or two of those,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a hat, and then you have this photo on top of the hat, and then this like photo negative on the side of it, which was never like in there like that. And then he had this like thing lit up on the wall behind it, and I'm like, okay, this is fucking weird, right?
Right.
And it's a Polaroid photo, and I'm like,
Okay.
oh, maybe that's his sister and him when they were little. Getting closer and closer, photos looking more familiar, more familiar. The Polaroid photos, me and my sister. I was 5, she was 10. It was our catechism, I think, photo. And
Wow. How do you get a hold of that?
thank you, right? So, and then the negative laying next to it was of me and my best friend when we were 16. It was like 2 photos my dad took of us before when he was still alive, of course. I'm like, how the fuck? Like, I felt like I got kicked in the gut because I'm like, how the fuck did this guy get this? Like, hell no.
Did you call the cops on him again? Be like, this guy's
No,
creeping on
I
me.
didn't.
Okay.
But the weird thing, it was so right before I took this case is when my mom. So it was right during the process, my mom sold her house because my dad had passed away, and she had to sell the house.
Okay.
So we came across that Polaroid photo and we put it in the box with all the other photos. So like, how the fuck did he get this? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'm freaked the fuck out. So I call them. I'm like, you guys need to come home like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come home and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, where the fuck? Like, I was pissed. Like, I'm like, where the fuck did you guys get this? Because this isn't funny. And he's like, what are you accusing me of? I was like, well, where the fuck? It's a Polaroid photo. It's not like you could go online and print it out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
this is a Polaroid photo. And he's like, I don't know what you're accusing me of, but I found this on the floor. And I'm like, you found it on the floor? Like, yeah, that doesn't work for me. So I'm like, okay, well, we got to stop. Like, I'm done, So we leave. I contact a medium friend of mine. And he's like, it's demonic. It's really personal. You need to abandon the case because it's going to affect you. And hurt you. So I did. I told her I could find another team to take this over, but I can't do this any longer.
Wow.
And then like my life started getting really fucked up at that point. My husband's mom had some seizure type thing, and he left to take care of her for like 3 months, and I was by myself in this house.
Mm-hmm. And
like bangs on the walls and shit. Like that's kind of when like the activity in my house really started to like increase at that point. And we had just moved in. So, and I'm dealing with this by myself for 3 months, and so I like kind of took a break from those types of cases because they always seem like every time we get a case, there seems to be some type of tie to me in some way. And so it's just like it became kind of hard. Like we'd stopped doing those like residential cases for a while too, because like everything just would follow me home, or my life would start getting fucked up every time I took on one of these darker cases. But at the same time, I felt most comfortable on those kind of cases, if that makes sense.
Maybe you are possessed.
Well, I don't think I'm possessed, but definitely, I don't know. For me, I feel like it's a calling, but I have to understand it better to really know how to take it in and deal with it the right way,
So
I guess. But
what is it about demons and demon possession that gives them this insight into like who other people are? It gives them access to items that they normally wouldn't have, right?
I mean, that part of it, I don't know, but I guess they're supposed to know everything, which I still don't understand that aspect of it.
Yeah, that part's wild.
I mean, if it's something from the devil, then I mean, it kind of makes sense. But
the devil, yeah. Could be.
at the same time,
Hmm.
demons were around well before religion too.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I don't know. That's the scary part though. Like for him to sit here and like describe my honeymoon and I have never met
Hmm.
this person before, that's a little fucking freaky. But
No.
I think the scariest part, like, how did you get my photo? Like how did you get my photo?
Right. Right. There's a lot of things that he mentioned that is like that helps explain your connection with this film. Of course, I've worked with you for as long as I've had. I knew that you're definitely gonna be into a film that's paranormal related, or that's related to like exorcisms. So it makes sense. Um, man,
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess it's because I can relate to it
yeah, yeah.
in a way. I mean, not to that level because I've never experienced an exorcism, but
Almost like you're
yeah.
there. Almost. It
I
sounds like
mean,
it.
yeah. There
Yeah.
was like 3 cases that we worked that we knew for sure. Um,
Hmm.
so it's kind of like, I've experienced enough to believe in this.
I see.
I know it's not for everybody, and I know not everybody believes it, and that's okay. But I
Yeah,
know from myself that this stuff's very real.
and I bet you now there's probably some people in the chat that have heard the story. I'm sure they were all listening. We're like, I don't know, is this totally going on? What's going on? But it's, I mean, you do post things on Facebook where like it's hard to explain any other way. How do you explain that? How do you explain
Yeah.
this? How do you explain that? I don't know. I don't know.
And it's like I'm always hesitant to even post my evidence because either you have these extreme skeptics who are just like, no, you did that,
Mm,
you figured out a way to do that, or there's just people that get jealous because they don't get stuff that way, and everyone knocks it, and so it's kind of like, why do I even share it? You know what I mean?
right. Well, just don't
But
worry
the
about
last
them.
videos, it's kind of like, how? Hello, the light's fucking flying in the air by itself. Like I'm not doing that.
Right. Right.
So I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Like I think I posted more so just to show people that it's real and it's
All right.
not
All right.
bullshit.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up here.
Okay.
Just remind everybody what. So you would recommend this film? Like, how would you rate it as far as like I guess accuracy on exorcisms and how does it rate? I think we already did that. How does it rate compared to other Exorcist films? Is it better than The Exorcist?
It's a totally different beast in my eyes. Like I don't feel like it's like the same type of movie.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, even though it is, but it's not at the same time. So I think they're
Yeah.
kind of in a league of their own, and I like them both. As far as what I would rate it, 7 out of 10,
Awesome.
maybe 7
Yeah.
out of 10. Because I think if his acting was a little bit better, it probably would have rated better for
Man,
me.
you
But
reminded me about his acting. Now I want to give it a 6. I don't,
yeah,
it's all right. It's all right. Uh, but
but I think people who are into the paranormal and into that sort of thing
mhm.
can appreciate the movie.
Oh yeah, they'll get that. They'll get that. And you're right. The Exorcist. Oh, that's more theatrical. That's more entertaining. That's like, oh shit, this is fun. This is like I said, more down to earth and just
But The Exorcist was also very, very Hollywood,
yeah. Oh yeah, that's
and that's what makes it more entertaining.
mhm.
So
All right. Well,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, press the like button, share, and subscribe. You guys, ladies, take it easy. Have a good one.